So I had one
ahead, Chris.
question
I
going
have
into
like a
this.
ton of
Oh, yeah, I
questions
have
for you guys.
okay, but I have one question going into this movie that was unanswered by the time I got out of it. Who is this for? Not saying I
I,
didn't enjoy this movie. I didn't
Whoa,
say
whoa,
I'm not
whoa.
saying I didn't enjoy this movie,
All
but
right,
I'm
all
like
right, all
again,
right, all
who
right.
is this
Well, no,
for?
that's a huge question you just asked, bro. Who was the Doors for? Who was Bohemian
okay.
Rhapsody for? Who was
Can
Rocket
I?
Man for?
Can I?
You're
Can I
literally just saying who's a music
please
biography
shove
for.
you away from him, dear sweet Chris, love of my
Uh-huh.
life? Imagine, if you will, the same movie done normal,
Mhm.
and you're 10 or you're 13, and you're sitting with your dad who dragged you to the 87th movie this year, and you see the trailer for a guy you don't know whose music you only know the one song, and it's just a normal documentary. You as a 10-year-old or you as a 13-year-old, are you going to go see that? The answer is no. However, take that same 10-year-old who grew up on Lego movies, take that same 13-year-old who grew up on Lego movies, and do what this movie did, and you'll get exactly who this movie was for and why they did it this way, among the personal reasons Pharrell talks about in the goddamn movie. This was a way of reaching a wider general audience that he would never have reached if they had done this straight or if they had done a dramatic biopic. You guys did Bob Marley One Love earlier in the year,
Yeah.
and it did okay. I don't think it like broke any real numbers. I think it was fair to Midland. It
Yeah.
was in and out of theaters, and
It
people
was
didn't really pay up much mind.
It was
And and I tell you, I took my kids to go see it, but I take my kids to go see everything. Most most kids couldn't tell Bob Marley from Jacob Marley, okay, and they weren't for sure as fuck going to see Bob Marley One Love.
Yeah, yeah,
However, how
yeah.
you do that same movie as Legos, and suddenly the kids are just like, "Take me to the Lego movie," because those things are wildly popular. I think for
Yes.
again, Pharrell, I think one felt like in his weirdo mind, Legos are a way of expressing what's going on in his brain and in his heart, which I'm totally into. I love that idea. But also it's to reach as wide an audience as possible, and Legos are known like worldwide. This was actually a brilliant idea.
I think this
But
was
but
more
did it
than brilliant.
translate that way to the box
And
office? That's the
and
question.
my one thing is this: I have never had a fucking Lego movie make me cry twice. This movie was fucking phenomenal. If this is not my top 5 at the end of the year, it's because something knocked it the fuck out of there. Because
Yeah,
right
That
now,
blows
this
my fucking
easily
mind that you said that.
this
But
easily
okay.
is this was a number one for me. This easily made my top 10. This is one of my favorite
this
movies of this year.
easily
Hang on.
made my
I
top 10.
two things real quick. I wanted to know if I hadn't twisted your arm to watch this one, would you have? Clearly, the answer is no.
Clearly.
Which brings me to my second question. What the fuck with you, Chris?
Yeah,
Why
dude.
do
What's
you-
wrong with you?
Why are you like this movie? Wait, I would have watched
This
anything else.
is the end of the world.
It's like,
This is
why
like one
is
of the most positive movies I've ever seen.
I don't get it.
I'm
Why
fine
is
with
this one your
positivity, and it's just that I didn't get much out of it. I enjoyed myself, but
okay?
I'm not feeling
Oh,
emotionally
God.
connected to Pharrell or the whole what's the
I think I got the question on this
oh
one.
god.
I think
Oh,
I
here
got
we
the
go.
one that like if the way he answers this question will kind of give us a reflection on this.
Okay.
Chris, name one new cartoon in the last 5 years.
Okay, like,
That's not a movie.
Okay, I can't do that. I want you to-
There we go.
Okay.
It's Chris is giving up on his inner child of watching that cartoon every now and then and just being stupid for no reason and
This
having
isn't
that
stupid. No, that's
deep-hearted.
different.
That this was beautiful. This is like I thought I was going into a silly, stupid movie like Batman, Lego Batman, or Lego the movie or whatever. And I went in and I got touched in places in this movie.
I don't know
that
anything
I
about
was
Pharrell.
just
When I was in high school, I think high school or college, I think when Nerd came out, and I didn't know who the fuck Pharrell was or who was even in Nerd. I just know I heard lap dance probably at a strip club, knowing me, and I loved it, And I remember like my friends and I just thought lap dance was the shit. Like we would sing it, and it was sort of like naughty and goofy at the same time, and we were obsessed with that song.
You can get dance for free. You can get slap dance here for free.
Which is probably why I heard it at the strip club. But also, I remember seeing a buzz clip for Rockstar on MTV.
Oh, I'm a rock star.
Yeah.
I love that song. I've been bumping that song all week, dude. I still have the CDs from Nerd. Like when they first came out, I still have them back at my attic, man.
The image of the white nerdy kid in the gym shorts doing this shit, I can't get that out of my head. Yes! I love that video. That song is great. I kind of vaguely knew who the Neptunes were. And then there's this large block of my life where I couldn't have picked Pharrell out of a Police lineup. And I knew Happy, but if you had told me prior to this movie, who does Happy? Pharrell, Usher, or Metallica? I would have guessed possibly Metallica. I don't know. I don't know anything about this guy.
I knew. I was pretty aware of Pharrell's music, especially Happy, because you couldn't escape it. Happy for a while.
Pharrell is
actually no. My answer would have been Weird Al Yankovic. That would have been my answer.
Also, also that punk song he did, but like I said, I did not enjoy myself. I did enjoy myself in this movie. There are other things that I've seen way shittier movies than this year. I enjoyed my time watching this, but it's not going to make my top 10.
Okay.
Oh, easily. I mean, it's easily one of the best movies I've seen all year. Easily. I don't know. I think it'd be like Deadpool and Wolverine, and then this movie. I think will be second. Because there's two parts in this movie that, as a male human being that has worked in music and in the musical industry for pretty much my entire existence, I know Pharrell. I know Pharrell well. I've played all of everything that's on his soundtrack for this movie. I have played that in so many clubs, so many times. I have lap danced, Rockstar, every Blurred Lines, whatever, Keep on Dancing. I mean, I had an 11-minute stretch of that song once that I did with vinyl. And so Pharrell has been one of the producers that literally from ever since, Rum Shaker till now is one of the most used in the club. Get the beat going. We're being happy. We're going to,
He really is one of the ultimate, his music, but you don't know his name. You've heard his music because it's that pervasive in the culture. I want to say this, in terms of craft, I thought I was in trouble at the beginning of this movie because the first question out of the documentarian's mouth is, something along the lines of, where do we begin? And like, oh, where are you from? He asked him a very innocuous question. Where are you from? The answer is Virginia Beach. The first words out of his mouth were, I'm from the mud. And I was like, oh, if this is one of those esoteric weirdo fucking movies where he just rambles incessantly and makes no fucking sense, I'm walking out of this theater. I thought it was going to go that way too. I totally agree. Yeah, he had 90 minutes of fucking nonsense coming out of this idiot's mouth. I can't take it. But he quickly transitioned from that to I'm from Virginia Beach.
Can I just say something real quick?
Yeah.
PG spray.
Oh yeah. PG spray is.
I have to say, it's gimmicky that they did this with Legos, but in a way it was perfect. And there were two examples of how perfect it was to use Legos to tell his story. One, he uses the phrase "we're stacking beats." They're creating and cataloging and storing beats for musicians that they can quick pull when they have a project they need to do. Instead of trying to just come up with stuff on the fly.
Back in the day, it was either on vinyl cassettes or you'd have books of CDs with all the beats in them and stuff like that. And usually they'd be copyrighted off the back. I had this guy named DJ Ralph that used to hang. He's the first one that actually, I can't remember. I think it's 96 or 97. That was the first time I ever heard stacking beats.
It makes me wonder if people what would this hard drive look like right now? You know what I mean?
So the way they do it in the movie is they literally build a shape out of Legos, and you see them on shelves. That's a really creative use of this medium, to the stop motion animation with the Legos, and will represent beats with little Lego things. That was really cool, and I thought a really inventive use of this. The second time, and it made me. It's got the biggest laugh out of me throughout the entire movie. It's not like a comedy or anything; it's a documentary. But occasionally something funny is said or happens in the movie. And the biggest one was when he gets the intern to be their manager, and they're taking him around to different record labels, and and I don't remember the song, but it's like Rockstar. It's really heavy, and he's just kicking in the door, and he's doing this, and,
Yes.
and he's like, I'm here, I'm right here, and he's talking about how like Pharrell had this really infectious, over the top, almost toddlerish energy, and it's being represented by this little Lego guy doing splits and moving up and down with a big smile on his face. And it's like, you maniac. And I cracked up laughing, and I was like, well, that's a really fun use of Lego. To go back to the beginning of this, you're like, who is this made for? Well, Pharrell obviously has a vision, a sort of weirder than normal way of looking at the world. And I think he made effective use of the Legos when he was talking about seeing things in color, and Legos being a good representation of that color. And I would happen to agree. I was skeptical about this as a gimmick, but I absolutely think everybody involved took great pains to make sure that this as a Lego movie was different and effective, which I think is why it's in my top 10. This is probably the most...
I didn't know what fever dream I was walking into.
Yeah, it's the most different movie I've ever seen, that wasn't like, a weirdo horror movie where they throw guts at the camera. It's
or like one of these bad, not bad, but I'm talking about like at this point, how many musical bios have you seen in the last 5 years now? I mean, like what we've seen Queen, Elton John, Marley, Amy Winehouse. I keep on forgetting her name's not Crackhouse. Anyway,
before that, Ray, Walk the Line.
Well, I mean, those are older, but like in the last 5 years.
I think they never go away.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think they've ever gone away either. I think they've been going since the 80s.
You want to keep going back further? How about The Doors? Do we need a 2.5-hour movie about The Doors? No, we don't, ladies and gentlemen. I can tell you.
Yes, we do.
I'm drunk. I'm nobody. I'm drunk. I'm famous. I'm drunk. I'm fucking dead. Sorry.
So, oh my God, I can't remember who told me that joke years ago.
That's Dennis Leary, by the way.
Mark, how'd your kids like this movie?
They loved it. We all did. Yeah. They were like, we were all like dancing.
This will be one of my highest rated movies of the year.
What was that, Neil?
I said this will easily be one of my highest rated movie of the year, man. This is like this one. There's one spot when he was like the astronaut, and he like looked back at the Earth, and he's like, and then I realized that we're all just individuals on this one little dot, and that we're all people. Like I mean, stuff like that with those deep.
Well, he was paraphrasing. He was paraphrasing Carl Sagan, which I laughed at when he said Carl Sagan, but I like.
Okay, yeah, but my point of that wasn't just because of that scene. I'm saying there's several points in this movie that are very deeply like philosophy, like about having the person watching the movie not just be in a movie, but ask questions to yourself about how to make yourself a better human being on the planet that we are on. And like, it's not just that. I could go back through and point out like I think it was right before the McDonald's part of the thing when the dad was like, I forgot he wrote McDonald's, right there before there's a part that he says something that some of it I don't want to ruin too much because I feel like this is an actual kind of a movie where it's like, you're living the life of it, dude. And if you haven't,
say this, Pharrell's music didn't make me a fan of Pharrell. This movie did. Like I walked out to go all the way back to Chris's, like, who is this for? It's for people like me who weren't huge fans of Pharrell. Like, who doesn't like Happy? It's like the most generically pleasing song to be written in the history of music.
Right.
But I wasn't a fan of Pharrell. I don't care. And then I watched this movie and I'm like, he's a good dude. He's a really creative dude. He's a really smart dude. He's a really talented dude. This is a dude I want to continue to support. That's the effectiveness of this movie.
I've listened to everything Pharrell since I've watched this movie. Like, I have like just been jamming the beats throughout my house. I'm sure my wife is so tired of hearing Happy, Drop It Like It's Hot, Rockstar, Lap Dance. What was? I can't do it. I can't even do it. I tried doing it back in the day when I was a DJ at a club. I tried doing that on the microphone. I thought it was so cool. Anyway, moving on.
It's almost over now.
Almost
So-
over now. It's almost over
Almost
now.
over now.
You can't deal with me. I'm a rock
I'm a
star.
rock star. All right, Chris, why do you hate this movie?
What?
I don't hate this.
Yeah, why do you
movie.
hate it? You
I
made it
I
very
liked it
clear you
just
did
fine.
at the
Why do
beginning.
you hate?
I
Why
liked
do
it
you
just
hate
fine.
Why
children?
do you hate it? Tell
Why do you hate
us.
children and whimsy?
I don't think it'll make its budget back. It's at 7.7 million right now.
Suddenly
Yeah.
you're interested in fucking budgets. Every time I've been on this podcast, you guys don't give a fuck about what a movie
Well,
makes.
I
And
know.
then
but,
now you're interested.
I don't
Like-
give
like I
a fuck
said,
about no budget.
like I said,
Now we're interested.
we're because like I said, my question still wasn't answered. Like,
It's almost
but,
over now. It's almost over now.
but I'm glad you guys got something out of it.
Hang on, you pretentious son of a bitch. I have seen you review every gay cowboy eating pudding, throw my guts at the fucking camera movie for the last year and a half. Many of which may have fucking fitting. Suddenly you're like, I don't like it. Who are you, Robert Winfrey? This doesn't appeal to me, so it's bad. And now
I
I'm
didn't
very
say it was
interested
bad
in
at all. I
films
never
like
said it
you.
was a bad movie. I liked it just fine.
If you give this a worse rating than some of the stuff we give on Panic Fest, I am gonna get up and walk out. And you guys can finish the fucking
I
rest of the
want
podcast.
to know, did you like this more or less than Bo Was Afraid?
I like this more than one.
Oh my god. All right, I can keep coming back now.
Because this one didn't confound me. This one I wasn't confounded by piece by piece. I was confounded by Bo Was Afraid. Bo Was Afraid is
Oh,
more
this
fun
one
to talk
confounded me.
about.
Saw that. Oh, and by the way,
Come
Bo Was
found
Afraid
me
didn't make
like
a lot of money
crapping my
either.
pants.
Huh?
I was,
Bo
man.
Was
I
Afraid
really
didn't
love, dude.
But no, this one I like just fine. But Neil, it's a fun movie. Like there's nothing offensive about it. That's why it's PG. But there are very clever uses of Legos in this. Like stacking beats is pretty cool. But again, I just and it just I don't know. I liked it just fine.
Is this the first time you've ever done a documentary on this show?
No, we tried it early on, and it didn't work out.
And it went as well as it did tonight.
What documentary did we do?
It was I want to say it was that Fred Rogers one.
Oh, that one was a movie like this though. That's what I think. Like there are certain documentaries that are movies.
Yeah.
Right?
This one's a movie.
They're not.
Yeah.
This one's a movie for sure. And that one, Won't You Be My Neighbor? That was a movie. That was, as much as people want to say documentary, that movie, come on. You don't walk into a documentary where they hand you Kleenex, you know? Like,
was that the one with Tom Hanks as Mr. Rogers?
No. This was the actual documentary of Won't You Be My Neighbor. But the way they did it was just like, there's like 4 parts in this documentary that like you fall like a baby.
I think Neil and I went and saw it out in the Draft House together. I think you and I saw that together.
And we laughed at the Kleenex, but then we were like,
thank you for
no. We definitely needed the Kleenex because you're a sobbing mess at the end of it.
That's wonderful.
But I like Piece by Piece. I didn't love it like you guys did, but I was just fine with it. So
all right. So Mark, what is your score on this? Since you like to make up your thing, and let's just hear it. Let's hear what your thing for this one is.
Yeah.
How many? No, I know. How many Fears for Tears would you give this?
I don't know what you're talking about, but the only rating scale that matters is the one I created to develop my top 10 and my bottom 5. So this gets a 1. This will be in my top 10. Okay. It's magical.
It is. If I'm using the Mark scale, definitely a 1. 4.8, man. This is like literally, I want to watch this again already.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm not joking. I'm serious. Pharrell's been one of my favorite musical producers, creators for years. I own, I think, everything he's ever touched. If not, I used so much of Pharrell like back in the day when I was a DJ. It's ridiculous. I mean, God, I think Get Lucky by fucking Daft Punk. I made so many people's ears bleed with that, like it's like, but he's one of my favorite music guys in history. This movie did such a great, I didn't know any of his story except for what I knew that he, played in a band. He played in, Nerd, and he played in Neptunes, and he's part of, I know, what I know from just buying his music, but like I didn't know his backstory, and the backstory he told and the way he reflected on his life made me want to be a better human being. And there ain't many movies in this fucking world that I watch when I walk out that I'm like, I want to be a better human being than I was 5 minutes ago.
I wonder.
That's awesome.
I just wondered because earlier this year, Chad Hugo, but there's a lawsuit against Pharrell, and I don't know if that's been resolved since this movie came out. It was earlier this year when they did the.
What's that lawsuit about?
I don't know. I think it's unpaid royalties. I think is what he's saying.
I'm sure Pharrell will pay him money because Pharrell's not that kind of guy to like fight over.
He's not. I'm not saying that he's not.
I obviously after this movie, I'm gonna have a high respect for him.
My score is a 3.7. I like it just fine.
3.7. You like it just fine. You want to give it a hug?
Yeah, I'd be fine with giving a hug, but it's not.
Do you want to touch it in its no place?
It's not top. It's not breaking my list this year, probably.